If you're a Verizon customer and you're also an Android fan, you're probably more torn than ever about which Android phone to go with for your next 2-year upgrade. I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, and today it's a dogfight battle between the HTC One on Verizon and the Motorola Droid Ultra. This sucker's been a long time coming, but it's finally available on Verizon, and the Droid Ultra represents one of a trio of new Droid devices. Which one's the best? Let's put them in a dogfight and find out. It's a dogfight battle between the HTC One and the Motorola Droid Ultra, two phones that are now, at least for this case, on Verizon Wireless, officially for $199.99. The HTC One is available now, the Droid Ultra is available right now, and they both bring Android, albeit in a different package to an extent, to the masses on Verizon Wireless. This is a dogfight battle. Before we get too far into that, my stomach's growling. I don't know why, but I'm going to give special thanks to my partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like the HTC One, like the Droid Ultra, for use in our One-Pawed Bandit giveaway game, which is where we give you free phones on the site at instantwin.phonedog.com. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. They'll get your email, your web, your contacts, all that stuff set up, so when you walk out the door, be it with the One or the Droid Ultra, you'll walk out ready to go, thanks to Best Buy Mobile. So quick spec rundown here. Obviously, two very different user experiences and two different designs for that. And we'll take a look here at the Droid Ultra and see what it has in comparison to the HTC One. The HTC One is packing a 1.7 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 600 CPU. It's got a 4.7-inch 1080p HD display, a 4 ultra-pixel camera on the back, 2,300 milliamp hour battery that is non-removable, 32 gigabytes of internal storage without a micro SD card slot, packing Android 4.2.2 out of the box on Verizon Wireless. So a nice little software upgrade right out of the gate on the nation's largest wireless carrier, and then it has 4G LTE capabilities on the carrier as well. Droid Ultra is a little bit different. It's appealing to a little bit of a different mass. It's packing that Droid branding, so you've got kind of that robot thought process, if you will, with the Motorola Droid Ultra. But specs-wise, it's very similar to the Moto X in a lot of aspects. It's got right here, processor-wise, 1.7 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon S4 Pro CPU with Motorola's X8 architecture. It is fast all around, so even though it's a dual-core CPU, take that with a grain of salt because it is very fast in comparison to the HTC One, and we'll talk more about speeds in a future video, probably in part 2 of this dogfight battle. It's got a 5-inch display, so a little bit bigger on the display size, but then it only has an AMOLED display, 720p HD display here. So 720p by 1280 pixels, 1080 by 1920 over here. So more pixels and a smaller display make for a better overall picture over here. But if you like that 5-inch display on the Galaxy S4, but maybe you're not a Samsung fan or you just don't like the way it looks, this could be a great option for you. It also has a 10 megapixel camera on the back with 1080p HD recording. On the back, battery-wise, non-removable battery here, 2,130 milliamp hour battery. You can get the bigger version by going with the Droid Max and getting that all day long, or even 2 days in some cases, battery life from the Droid Max. Very similar in terms of design, just with a bigger battery. 4G LTE capabilities as well, and Android 4.2.2 here on the Droid Ultra. So obviously very different user experiences. This has HTC Sense version 5. This has a pretty pared down version of Motorola's UI. In fact, I would go as far to say this is basically stock Android with Motorola customizations, where this is very much HTC Sense 5 with some Android customization. So you get kind of a different experience. It depends on what's most important to you. This brings some great software stuff to the table, as does this actually. We'll dive in just a second and take a look at that. First, the hardware. On the left side, you've got your micro SIM card slot in the bottom, like the other versions we've worked with. Micro USB charging port here off center to the right. Volume rocker over on the right side. Top, 3.5mm headphone jack, and power button, which doubles as an IR blaster for the TV capabilities, which we'll talk about later. I feel like I'm saying we'll talk about a lot of stuff later, but there's a lot to cover, my friends, so keep it on the video. Volume rocker over here, which actually doubles as a nano SIM card slot. The volume rocker slides out, and I'm not going to do it to risk losing connectivity, but it does pull out to include a nano SIM card. Power button here, nothing on the right side. Micro USB charging port down here at the bottom, which is kind of hard to see because this phone's very glossy. And then up top, 3.5mm headphone jack. So distinctly different appearance here. This one's a little bit bigger in the hand, but I love the feel of this phone in the hand. It's very thin, it's very light. You got your capacitive buttons down here, back, home, and recent applications, but feels great in the hand. Like these buttons a lot. They've got kind of a rugged feel to them, both the power button and the volume rocker. Very easy to press easy to press. And this is an issue that I have with the HTC One. Every unit I've worked with, which is 6 by my count with this one, the power button after about a month of use starts to recess into the device. It's a known HTC problem. I see it on a lot of HTC phones, the Droid DNA, I've seen it on the Butterfly S. The power button kind of recesses down, making it hard to press. And if you can look up here at the top, you can see that the way the phone is shaped downward, it makes it even harder to reach your finger over and down. It doesn't seem like a lot from the video, but after you've worked with this for a month or two, you'll notice the power button gets increasingly harder and harder to press. Never to the point where it doesn't power on, but in comparison to something like this, the power button is far easier to press, and it's right there where the thumb is naturally, which makes it really nice. So a little bit different in terms of the overall look and feel here. You've got the HTC logo, the home button, and the back button. Home button doubles up for a couple of things here. Press and hold to access Google Now. I can double tap quickly to access my recent applications. There we go. Recent applications, which again, very much an HTC Sense 5 flavor here. So Sense 5 versus stock Android. Let's see what's different between these two. You can see very much stock Android 4.2 here with the ability to add widgets from the home screen, and then going in here, you'll see some very minor Motorola customizations. Out of the box, you get the typical Verizon stuff on both of these devices. You get the Amazon suite, Amazon Kindle, Amazon MP3. You get VCast accessories. You get mobile hotspot, My Verizon Mobile, Verizon Tones video calling, VZ Navigator, VZ Security, visual voicemail as well. And you get most of that stuff over here as well, though you'll notice, as I just tried to do and failed at doing, this is stock Android or pretty close version, so you swipe side to side, whereas here you swipe up and down. So HTC is all about simplifying the user experience. They were really big on that when the HTC One came out. They said, listen, based on our research, people don't use more than 3 home screens, so we want to make those 3 home screens as useful as possible. And very similarly with the overall app drawer as well. You can customize this and stick stuff in folders if you want to. I'll go back here and go to custom so you can see. Stick stuff in folders if you want to. You can make this, I did not mean to do that again. Go here and we'll go to grid size, and I can make the grid size smaller. So you can really make this your own in terms of customization, and this is great out of the box for those people that are either new to smartphones or perhaps people that just aren't as comfortable using smartphones as perhaps you or myself are. And you can see over here as well, get the stock look and feel, apps and widgets, and then over here to get your widgets, press and hold the home screen. Now you can have a maximum of 5 home screens over here in the HTC One, including the one that houses HTC Blink Feed, which is a revolutionary new thing. I actually like Blink Feed quite a bit. It grew on me from the initial announcement to launch, and it continues to grow on me because you can customize your Blink Feed with whatever you want. So Blink Feed is something you can't remove. It's there out of the box, and even though you can change the home screen like I have, for example, to make it look more like a typical Android device, that Blink Feed home screen is always going to be there, regardless of whether you want it or not. Now, you can customize this. You can never activate it if you want to, but I prefer to customize it and kind of make it my own. And you can add in stuff like Facebook, and actually in 4.2, you can add in Instagram as well, along with LinkedIn, and of course your apps. So I can see my calendar, my gallery, my TV stuff. I can add in Facebook if I want to, or Instagram. Then I can come over here and add popular news stuff. ESPN, for example, MTV, autoblog.com, Bang Showbiz if I want to, and come back out here and it'll curate some stories for me. And this is great for those times where you're on the road, you only have 20 seconds to check your phone, you just want to scroll through the latest news, latest updates on your Facebook or your Twitter. That's what Blink Feed is for. Now, this Motorola device, the Droid Ultra, is not without some little software goodies, some little value adds, if you will. And Motorola Assist is one of those. I really enjoy this application. And Assist, basically, exactly how it sounds, it assists you with your life. Driving, meeting, and sleeping, 3 things we do in the adult life on a regular basis. Driving, for example, you can do this and activate it where whenever it detects, the accelerometer detects you're going, it'll stop and it'll talk to you when you get a text message. We can click resume music play, for example, and I'll go in here just to customize it even more. It'll read my text messages, it'll tell me who's calling, and I can send a quick reply. So once that accelerometer realizes the car is in motion, driving mode will kick into play, and of course if you don't want that, you can turn it off as well. Meeting down here, this one's pretty useful because I'm in a lot of meetings, so I find this one to be particularly useful, and this is a carryover from the Moto X as well. Or maybe this is maybe the Droid Ultra carries it over to the Moto X. I don't want to give responsibility to one or the other because these devices came out at about the same time. But meeting, for example, here, whenever it detects that you have a meeting on your calendar, for example, I have a conference call at 2 o'clock this afternoon. When it detects that I have the call, I'm in a meeting, it'll silence the device and keep it quiet. While I'm busy, I can silence it or allow vibrate, and then I can make exceptions, much like do not disturb on the iPhone, for example. When a favorite calls, fiance, family, whatever, someone calls twice within 5 minutes as well, the boss, because he's trying to reach me for a project, they'll be able to reach me as well. And very similar down here with sleeping as well. You can select a time and it'll put the phone on silent and you can make those same exceptions for favorites, or as you can see here, for when somebody calls twice. Very useful application. Another one I use all the time on the Moto X, and you can use this on the Droid Ultra as well. Motorola's Moto Connect, which is an application, or I should say it's a extension to the Chrome browser, where you can go in there and you can text message and see your missed calls. I'm the king of putting my phone down like that when I'm at work and walking out into the conference room or whatever the case may be. I'm in a meeting or something, phone's face down and it's on silent because I shoot videos throughout the day, and I miss a call or I miss a text message, well, it'll pop up on the computer screen, and I can not only see it, but I can actually respond to text messages from my computer as well, and that's all able to be activated through the settings. Other things I like include active notifications and touchless control. I can come in here and say, okay, Google Now, and I can access Google Now just by saying, okay, Google Now, which is nice. Again, carry over to an extent from the Moto X, and you've got that nice 5-inch display to get those questions on the display. So let's take a look here, active notifications as well. Active display, I can manage the notification types. I find this one to be pretty useful. When the device is off, for example, we'll give it a couple of seconds here, and I move it, it should tell me the time and allow me to unlock the device, which we'll play around with it for a little bit. Let's see, come on. Never works when I want it to on camera. We'll wait for it for just a second. Whenever you get a text message, it only lights up the number of pixels on the display that it needs to display that actual notification. So it saves battery life, which is a nice little feature. There it is right there. Active notifications. I can either unlock by swiping down, or if I had a message, it would show up here in the top. Nice little feature, and then a little bit different from the standard lock screen. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com. In part 2 of the Dogfight, we'll talk speed tests, camera settings, and the benefits that both of these devices bring in terms of editing pictures and things like HTC Zoe and the highlight reel. Stay tuned for part 2.